Mr. Barton.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz, Senator Nelson, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss the future of the International Space Station. Over the past 5 years, the Office of Inspector General has issued 13 reports related to the ISS, including reviews on NASA's efforts to maximize onboard research, manage contracts with private companies to fly cargo and crew, and maintain international partnerships that fund almost 1/4 of the station's annual expenses. My testimony today is informed by these past reviews, but draws primarily on findings from a forthcoming OIG audit that assesses NASA's progress in maximizing utilization of the ISS to accomplish its human exploration objectives. This report, which we plan to publicly release in a few weeks, will also examine the challenges associated with continuing ISS operations after 2024, as well as the status of NASA's plans for the station's eventual decommissioning and deorbit. For the past 20 years, the ISS has served as a unique platform for humans to learn about living and working in space, but a platform that costs NASA between $3 to $4 billion annually, or about half of its human spaceflight budget. The President's 2019 budget request proposes ending direct federal funding of the ISS beginning in 2025, and a March report outlines NASA's plans to become one of many customers of a commercially operated station or other privately owned low Earth orbit platform. In my remarks today, I offer 3 observations about the administration's admittedly high-level plans for the ISS post-2024. Observation 1. Based on our work, we question whether a sufficient business case exists under which private companies can create a self-sustaining and profit-making business using the ISS independent of significant government funding. From our perspective, it is unlikely that a private entity or entities would assume the station's annual operating cost, currently projected at $1.2 billion in 2024. Such a business case requires robust demand for commercial market activities. Candidly, the scant commercial interest shown in the station over its nearly 20 years of operation give us pause about the agency's current plans. Observation 2. The amount of savings NASA may realize through commercialization of the ISS may be less than expected, given that significant expenditures, particularly for crew and cargo transportation for NASA-sponsored flights to LEO, coupled with ongoing civil servant and infrastructure costs, are expected to continue past 2025, even if many activities transition to a privatized ISS or another commercial platform. Consequently, any assumption that ending direct federal funding frees up $3 to $4 billion beginning in 2025 to use on other NASA exploration initiatives is wishful thinking. That said, unless the agency receives a substantial increase in funding or can dramatically reduce costs, it will be hard-pressed to continue supporting ISS operations under its current model while attempting to fund other initiatives such as the Lunar Gateway, a lunar orbit and moon landing, and a crewed Mars mission. Observation 3. One obvious alternative is to extend ISS operations under the current regime, which from a technical standpoint is doable, given that the station's infrastructure and critical equipment are or soon will be certified to at least 2028. Our recent audit work determined that research for at least 6 of 20 top human health risks that require the ISS for testing and 4 of 40 technology gaps will not be completed by the end of 2024. In addition, research into 2 other human health risks and 17 technology gaps are not scheduled to be completed until sometime in 2024, meaning that even minor schedule slippages could push their completion past the station's planned retirement date. Finally, at some future point, whether in an emergency or because its useful life has ended, NASA likely will need to decommission and deorbit most or all of the station. NASA estimates a controlled re-entry of the ISS will take up to 3 years to execute and cost approximately $950 million. However, NASA has not finalized such a plan or develop the necessary capabilities to safely deorbit the station in an emergency. In whatever time remains, NASA must redouble its efforts to maximize the station's potential. And the sooner Congress and the administration agree on a path forward for the ISS, the better NASA will be able to plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.